Podcasters, start your engines.
Bacon, tomato, lettuce podcast.
Alex, I'm gonna need you to cue up some Mario Kart 64 racetrack starting noises at some point when we get there. Where the
so we're at Baby
down.
Park.
Yeah. So where we I guess we should also probably say that this is the Every FNFF podcast. You probably know that by now because we are in
podcast.
chapter 12 of Final Fantasy 13. This is like the last playable chapter, right?
Kind of.
We're getting real close to the end here.
We're getting real close. We're
now in chapter 12.
Yeah, I'm Carl Germ.
I'm Curtis.
I'm Alex. And yeah, last we saw our friends, well, actually, let me look at
We saw our heroes taking off on that cool Minerva owl ship on our way back to Cocoon, right?
Incredible gas mileage on that bad boy. Wonder how long that trip takes.
The Lassie have no choice but to return and prevent the impending devastation. Even if every man, woman, and child on the floating world regards them as mortal enemies, it is their home. And yada yada yada, as the Lassie fly towards their final destiny, they make the only choice that remains to them, a promise to be true to themselves.
Wow.
And then
wish I could do that.
We get a cool little cutscene of them, the ship flying. Did we talk about the weird fucking portal that they fly through?
Is that like Etros or some shit?
It could be a symbol of it or something. They do through.
Looks like a fal'Cie, I guess, because it's like a human-shaped thing that is like translucent. It looks kind of like a ghost.
Also, yeah. I think maybe I asked last episode, but is Cocoon, as we know, is inside the sphere, but when we're approaching Cocoon, it looks like there's still like livable surface on the outside as well. Okay,
so here's what I think. I think that the ocean part of Cocoon just doesn't have a bottom to it. And because we can see the big open part full of like presumably water. So I'm like, oh, if you go into the ocean and you just swim all the way down, you just pop outside of Cocoon and you're like, oh, and you fall to your death.
Yeah, it's like when you dig straight down, you just end up in China eventually.
Yeah, exactly. Just dig straight down, you end up in Grand Pulse.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're more opposite from Strong than we are China.
I think we're exactly opposite the Indian Ocean. Have you ever looked at a map, like one of those reverse maps that No,
I did once, and it was in this game, and I fucking hated it, and I don't recommend it to anyone.
Luckily, real maps always keep their orientation, so
Carl's bad at the map in this.
I'm actually bad at maps in real life. Even like we went to my fiance and I went to the Renaissance Fair a couple of weeks ago, and they have like the cartoony style, like here's where everything is, like kind of map, and it's like you are here, that sort of shit. I was looking at that, and I'm like, this is fucking pointless for me. I can't figure it out. Like I'm gonna just figure it out on my own.
Meanwhile, I see a star like on the mission map. I'm like, I know exactly where that is. I do not need to look at the map. Like it's just I've somehow just memorized how like
internalized.
I don't know. I have a weird sense of direction.
Alex he eats, sleeps, and breathes the Arclight Step or whatever.
Exactly.
Alex, next season he's going to start his second job as a cartographer, and
yeah, that's right. for Final Fantasy 12, which we're definitely doing next season because there is a cartography guild in that game. So, I was going to say there are maps that are just like inverted and flipped maps, and it shows you what's on the other end of the world, like if you were to dig straight down, like what you would pop out into. And it's kind of sad how perfectly the world is aligned, that all water is over all land and vice versa. There are very few places you could dig through the earth and pop out onto land.
Yeah, fix your shit.
Fix your shit, planet Earth. Yeah. I guess it's because like if you ever like look at a globe and then you look at the middle of the Pacific Ocean, just half of the whole world is the Pacific Ocean. It's fucked up.
I haven't been able to trust maps since grade school when looking at the map of the U.S. and thinking that Alaska was way like smaller than it is, and like that
it's like the
Antarctica
size of the entire west of the United
whatever
States.
One is the North Pole on it, where I'm like, oh, that just takes up the entire top of the Earth, and I'm like, oh, that's much smaller. It's just the way that this shit's stretched.
Yeah. Stupid maps. Well, where we're going, we don't need maps, but I guess we do need roads.
We need roads, kind of, because they look cool, I guess, but we also don't need roads because everything floats.
We need those hoops from Superman 64 that you have to fly through. to get
Lex
points.
wins.
Yeah, because in the absence of the Lassie from Cocoon, everybody has gotten race fever, baby. We're going to the track. Everybody's about NASCAR. Let's go.
It's the Boonta Eve.
It's a Boonta Eve. You like pod racing? Fucking Cocoon loves pod racing. In my head, I have to check whether I'm getting ready to say Cocoon or Pulse every time. And so I have a little pause where I'm like, yeah, they love it on Cocoon.
Looking at your hand, yeah. Listen, I have information that you
have it on my hand. It's just Cocoon equals up, Pulse equals down.
I have information that your bookie doesn't want you to know, and it's what you want to put your money down on for who is going to win this race, and it is Sebulba, because Sebulba will always win. Don't worry about that other kid who finally fixed up his junker. Nothing's gonna happen with that. You gotta go all in on Sebulba. It's free money, baby.
That little kid is some bantha poodoo. Get him out of here.
Next season, we're going to be doing Star Wars Pod Racer, which is now available on Nintendo Switch.
That's true.
Oh, yeah.
So there's a thing when it comes to cutscenes and movies and all visual mediums called editing, right? When you film multiple scenes or multiple shots, you have to edit them together in a way that's cohesive and coherent. Or I guess you don't have to. You could edit them together like this next scene is edited, which Curtis. I've had to watch a couple times to understand the physics of what is happening in these next couple scenes.
Curtis, are you familiar with the most powerful video editing technique known to mankind ever or in the past? It is called the jump cut.
Yeah.
Because boy, howdy, there are a lot of jump cuts in this one.
They love it. Yeah, so
after we save, we open up on, I think it's, Sid Rain's his quarters, his grand suite.
Indeed, Daisley was telling the truth. He is alive and uncrystallized. He has been plucked from his fate in order to have an even more accursed one.
They put him on defrost for a week.
They got him out of the freezer and they set him next to the sink. And by the time they come home from work, he'll be ready to cook.
Nice sous vide, Sid.
They just popped him in the air fryer for 10 minutes and did all the thawing and the cooking that you would need.
As soon as we see him on screen, we get the title card for the area. We see that this is Eden. Its subtitle is The Seat of the Sanctum, and he is in a very nice office. He's it's gold encrusted. It's
you know that some houses will have the addition to it that's just kind of like a sunroom that has the nice little almost like part greenhouse on the side of your house. Looks like he's got this for an entire office suite at a hotel or something. It's really nice looking.
Yep. And one of his aides walks in behind him because I guess he is the Primarch now. He is in charge of Cocoon, and his aide walks in and says it is time for his address to the people.
Yeah,
and he
calls him Your
away.
Eminence.
He does. He is quote unquote in charge if you don't count the Fal'Cie pulling the strings behind him.
Right.
And he's somewhat ready to do it. I feel like it's pretty obvious that he is not happy about the state of things, but he's just kind of well, we have to do this. Here we go.
He's kind of being held hostage because hey, you thought you were done, but you're really not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm sure he could try to change the tides, but he's kind of at the mercy.
I'm wondering about that. How much of it he never really had a whole bunch of free will, and then in his last moments he was able to kind of exercise the last remaining bit of free will that he had to try to stop us and save Cocoon in his own way, which was misguided. But I don't know if he has that anymore. I imagine that Bartandalis kind of just thawed him out and was just yeah, no, you're because he said the thing about his eyes glassing over or something. I feel like he's just full puppet mode at this point.
It seems like he's resigned all of his hope for the future at this point.
He's been stripped of all individualism or something.
Yeah, I imagine that his soul was sucked out.
Well, I was going to say, I don't think he's a zombie or anything because of a scene coming up where he's just
when your soul is out and Bartandalis keeps sucking.
There's a scene later when he talks to Rigdia that makes me think he's still in charge of himself, but he probably is just all the fight is gone. He's
it's
completely
11.
Yeah, it's 11. But regardless,
he says, and so we greet the new dawn, and kind of makes his way to make this this proclamation to the people.
A lot of cool writing from the baddies in this game.
Yeah, cool writing, cool looking area. He's holding his hand kind of like Auron, very cool pose.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
He's not wearing a Pope hat, which is disappointing.
No, he didn't have to. He didn't have to fit into like the Pope suit that that Daisley always wore. He just gets to wear whatever he was wearing before. So
something I want to bring up, I think later in this cutscene is that it looks like maybe it's like golden hour when we see Sid first, and then as we cut away to this next scene, it is now nighttime.
Yeah, it's now nighttime. That's right.
It's almost like
days and nights be wiling out in this next section.
They got one of those buttons like on the one area that we went through with Saz and Vanille where it just changes shit arbitrarily.
I guess because like everything internal in Cocoon is controlled by a fallacy. If they're like getting ready to have a race, they'd be like, well, it's gonna be more fun at night. Let's turn the sun off. And so you can just do that, I guess. And then as soon as like shit goes haywire, they're like, oh, that's bad. Bring the sun back up.
Have you ever seen the sun set at 3 p.m.? Hi, once.
But I like this introduction of the scene because
it's great.
It starts on black, and we hear his
beginning of his address. Yeah.
But as he's speaking, we see this little light at the end of the tunnel, and then it basically emerges from the bleachers at like the Grand Prix, which is very just like space Indy 500.
Can I just say how fucking cool and like it's both cool and atrocious that this game was like, what should the big final scenario be? It should be F1 racing. That would be sick. And like you will never, and that's why like people a lot of times, you know, we always say that like the three of us are having a lot of fun with FF13. We really like this game, even though a lot of people
FF10 would have been better
shit.
Ending with the Blitzball.
Right.
Yeah.
And like
Una gives her big speech, and then like Blitzball kicks off, and like,
I'm just gonna say that no game will ever be brave enough to do this again. Like
until Mario Kart 9.
Yeah, you have to play a lot of JRPG to actually get to the racing in Mario Kart
until
9.
F-Zero 2.
It's the coolest shit because what other game would do this? Like, what other game would tell this very like dark and grim like fantasy story and then be like, "Yo, race day, baby!"
It's like, okay,
it's NASCAR.
So the Pope that is actually God has faked his own death to make a puppet take his place, and now he needs to address his people for we're assuming this is like the first time that he's addressing the people as Primarch, maybe. So it's like he's making the State of the Union address. Where's the perfect like venue for that? In an outdoor kind of indoor fucking like F1 thing, and like I think
and they're right.
I think Formula One is way more popular in Japan.
The presidential inauguration should just be at the Super Bowl.
Honestly, yeah.
God, this game is so fucking
Joe
cool.
Biden wardrobe malfunction. In that his belt comes undone and his pants fall to his ankles. And he goes, "Old gray mare, she ain't what she used to be."
Old man gets hit in crotch by a football.
But yeah, I guess. Do you guys want? Should we just? Do you want me to just read off what his like statement is to the crowd, and then we can kind of talk about this fucking insane.
Yeah, they're gearing up the race. Sid's on the Jumbotron.
Keep in mind that the cutscene is happening as this is all being said, and there's a lot of jump cuts. So we're gonna just rush through that real quick.
You just say all of the rain stuff while at the same time I describe the scene, and then the listener can like isolate their left or right headphone. Sorry, go ahead.
People of Cocoon, my fellow citizens, we have survived the twilight and gather now to welcome the dawn of the day on which we decide our fate. Many are the lessons we have learned during our long night of hardship and sacrifice. And now we face choices which must be made as our hearts dictate and not abandoned to uncaring chance. Let us forge ahead with unflinching courage and honor the fallen with action. With these hands, we shape the future.
And that's when shit kind of starts getting goofy.
And indeed that is when shit starts getting goofy.
Yeah, because as all of this is going on, we see a bunch of these pod racers, kind of these F1 or F-Zero cars coming onto the track.
They're kind of like bikes.
Are they the motorcycles that like Snow had earlier?
No, those are like donuts. Remember, those are military. These are like
these are different.
These look almost like toboggans, kind of combined with like a like a jet ski or a motorcycle.
So yeah, imagine the movie Cool Runnings, starring John Candy and the Jamaican bobsled team, and that is what you got here. It's future Cool Runnings.
It's cool because as soon as Sid's done speaking, he snaps his fingers.
Oh yeah, with these hands we shape the future and then snaps, and that's the go.
That's the go is when he snaps and everybody. It's kind of cool. We see some of the racers at the starting line, and the camera goes over their masks, their helmets, and they're looking down their steering wheel, getting ready to go. It's very
lots
cool.
of reflections.
Oh my god,
it's very shiny.
The scene is beautiful.
It's real.
I'm watching it at half speed. It feels better in half speed, but less fast.
Does it? I'm about to do the same. Because let me tell you, at max speed, it is a lot to deal with.
It's a lot happening all at once.
But yeah, their helmets are very much inspired by the bobsled or cyclists, where they have the pointed back and they're hunched over like jockeys or whatever. But they are kind of almost like floating little boats because they have a little fin on the back.
Yeah.
Hit little rudder. Yeah.
But yeah, cool. we see a couple seconds of the race. That's just a couple seconds of the race, right? Nothing crazy going on except for damn, sports cool, ain't they?
Or all these reflections. Yeah, I mean, because of all the reflections, it got me. And the colors remind me a lot of the new Tron movie. Lots of bright neon blue. There's these kind of decorative balloons that kind of remind me of chocobo feathers on the sides.
Yeah, I was thinking it was like a chocobo plume of some kind or something. We get to see some of the racing ladies.
Oh yeah, before the race starts, I dropped a picture of the concept art, but the design of them are great because they have these kind of ornate, wrapping that kind of evokes the vibe of Eden with the kind of weird organic and white.
Yeah, that's true.
Tendrils, but mixed with very loud, almost blitzball racing, festive looking.
I'm just a real big fan of the half cadet hat that's turned to the side.
But it looks like it has Cocoons, I guess you should say the FF XIII logo, wispies and stuff.
Yeah.
The crystal flower bouquet on their heads. It's cool. It's very ornate, but also extremely sporty.
And we see them for all of 1 second.
I guess they're the ones who would hold up the
flag,
the flags or whatever, right? Seems like a dangerous job.
Well, thankfully they aren't on the track here. I think they're just representatives. They're holding the flags. It's the beginning of when they walk out with the banners at the beginning of the pod race.
Yeah.
It really is just pod racing. It's just Star Wars again. That's the name of the episode. Anyway.
But as they're making corners, I like that. It looks like they're getting very Mario Karty, where they have to go through certain hoops to get certain points.
It seems like it. Yeah.
They can go off the track and go through these little point hoops, in Wave Race or some shit.
That's how you get your boost, I guess.
But in the night sky, we see that pulse portal kind of pulsing.
Just the pulse in the sky. Yeah, and one of the racers sees it.
It looks very alive because its hair is just kind of going wild.
Yeah, one of the racers sees it and is like, "What the fuck?" He's
God. Cheering because I think he's in the lead. He's like, "Yeah,
he's in the lead.
He's like, go wrong. Let's go."
Yeah, he's stoked about it. And he sees that portal, and you see Minerva come out. And along with it, Saz and Lightning and the rest of the crew have just already gotten out of the ship. They've abandoned ship as it's flying.
Minerva hit the
shit.
surprise eject button, and everyone's like, "Oh!"
Yeah, everybody was ejected from the seat.
It's the Futurama. The most important thing to a battle is the element of surprise. Surprise, and just drops them all in.
But yeah, they fly out and they're falling toward the racetrack and,
with all their Eidolons.
I was gonna say Lightning calls Odin, and you see Odin pop out, and then the camera kind of comes out, and you see that everybody and everybody's
the rose petals
Eidolon is falling with them.
It's so sick. It's really cool.
They all do the transformation in midair. It's it's very. This is Michael Bay as hell.
Yeah, the Minerva kind of continues to cascade down, and one of the racers has to turn his little cycle sideways, and drift forward, but he starts spinning out of control, and the Shiva sisters grab his ship, right? To keep him going,
and snow lands
on top of it,
which at this orientation is the side of it, and he's standing around, and the crowd is fucking loving it.
Yeah, at this point, the crowd is going nuts. They're
they think this is all just part of the
rules.
Spectacle. They're
that cool magical man to save that racer.
Yeah, and he's
and the hero saves the day, and he's holding up his arms.
Yeah, everybody's clapping. He says, no, you're too kind. You're too kind.
Yeah.
And then the camera swings around and you just see his fully eye-open Pulse brand, like his LaCie brand, and like you can see in the cutscene everybody slowly stop clapping and all the cheering go like, oh.
Speaking of wardrobe malfunction.
Yeah, right.
And then the delivery that Snow gives this next line is hilarious because he realizes
what he did.
Probably should have covered that. Like he's not doing it like he's just like, "Oop, my bad."
Yeah.
Like very funny.
Who do you think this guy is if he wasn't a LaCie? Like this guy with magical robots helping him?
I don't know.
This is how the crowd felt at the Game Awards when that weird teen that was like shit posting or whatever just walked up to the mic to start talking. Everyone's like, okay, well, let's hear what he has to say. And then it's like, oh no.
Whose strange child is this?
So basically, like the
Psycom is let loose now.
Psycom is let loose, and
because we see
cool
some tilters blasting in pursuit, right?
Yeah. So it's kind of neat because I guess this cutscene, what is happening in the cutscene is all of the Psycom guards and tilters and like their vehicles are driving backwards on the track toward the LaCie while the racers are driving forward. So everybody's caught in this like extremely quick back and forth between these vehicles.
Why would
machines.
they do that?
It's so wild. Like why would they do that? But B, it looks cool as hell.
I'm also confused as to what LaCie's plan was. Like, are they attacking? Or were they attacking?
What are they doing?
Were they like, oh look, all the police are gathered around this event. Let's go take them out. Or they just happen to accidentally crash this.
I think here's my theory on this, because when we're seeing this all, and again, like we're watching this and going through it at half speed, like it's all happening extremely fast. It didn't really make a whole lot of sense to me, but now when I'm kind of like, after I've digested this for a little longer, I think what had happened was like, we were sent here basically by Bartandalis. Like, you know, he's like, oh, you guys can do whatever you want, like whatever, but like it doesn't matter to him. He wants this plan to go off, and him just dropping them, like we took his ship, they probably just dropped us into this to kind of help paint the picture that Bartandalis wants the people of Cocoon to see, which is like, oh shit, Pulse has declared war on us. They got their fucking LaCie crashing this huge event and stuff. Like, it doesn't look good for us, even though like our intentions at this moment are to save everything.
They abandoned ship because it was probably doing whatever the fuck it wanted and shit like that. But also, I don't know.
I also wonder if like their whole like, it sounds like maybe the LaCie's plan is to like try to convince the people of Cocoon not to fight against the cavalry and everybody to chill the fuck out.
Yeah.
So maybe
just
like
be cool.
Yeah, so maybe causing a big scene at the largest thing will get them a lot of attention, maybe, and they'll be able to like address people all at once.
This could definitely use a data log for even just like what the fuck is happening. Why is this race happening? Why is the Primarch speaking?
Yeah. The event for this section is called "Start Your Engines," but there's no mention of the race anywhere in the event. So it's like something happened, but the thing that happens next is more important.
Yeah, the something happened is like the wildest shit you could imagine, but but yeah, we have like a couple scenes of like
I like Hope jumping down onto the track and just like
I love it
very gingerly, like he kind of just like stands up like lightly, not doing a cool like hero pose or anything. He's just like,
the tilter just like goes up and right up against his face, like nose to nose, basically. And Hope is like, hi there.
And then Alexander comes down and just smashes the hell out of him.
It's cool seeing a lot of these monsters like kind of close up now, like in this kind of FMV mode.
Yeah,
very metallic. The helmet of the tilter is like very shiny and like it's really cool glass.
The tilter technology too is interesting to me because it, unlike a Tesla, it sees a child just in the middle of the road and it stops on a dime. And then, even though its job was to, much like a Tesla, it's not doing its actual job, which is to kill this child, also like a Tesla, but it then recognizes that Hope is a threat and tries to kill him, and that's when Alexander comes out to stop it.
But Alexander, being a wall, just blocks all the tilters from pursuing more.
To be specific, he blocks all the Velocicycles.
Oh yeah,
good. Fuck those things. I'm sick of.
I like he grabs because they're donuts. You see, like one gets caught in his arm. Like,
one he just like grabs in his
He's like
arm.
catching a bunch of inner tubes and shit.
It's really good. And then Snow rides by on his motorcycle, dodges some.
No, not on his motorcycle. I don't think.
Is it not?
Is it?
I'm watching in slow motion. It looks like Shiva.
Okay, it is. Okay, it's hard to tell, but
we just get a quick glimpse of it.
Yeah, everything that we've just discussed happens in about 3 seconds.
Now with lightning on the horseback of mode of Odin transforms into like, this is a very transformery like Michael Bay version where mid motion it's transforming and kind of tumbling into like it's using its momentum from vehicle form to like thrust itself forward.
Yeah.
Where it turns into the bot and kind of flings her around and
she shoots her gun as she's flying and then lands on one of the racer motorcycles. Right.
No, this is still like one of the
is it the
Velocicycles?
Oh, okay,
yeah.
Because there's a guy inside of it, and I was like, oh, I wonder if that's just
the guy is Psycom,
one of the racers.
I'm pretty sure because he says you're dead, and then Lightning very coolly says you first and grabs him and throws him out of it.
It's fucking awesome. But I did write in my notes. I said, "Did Lightning kill an innocent man?" Because I wasn't sure. I was like,
I'm not seeing any racers anymore in the scene.
Okay.
Yeah, the racers are long gone. They got their eye on the gold tape there.
I was gonna say, to be fair, if I was a racer, if
they're probably going the correct direction.
Okay.
I need to read the data log.
I was like,
about
I would have
race.
kept doing the race because it would probably be easier if everybody's dropping out of the race.
I was looking through the data logs to try to find more about the racers, and I did find one named Jerry, and it stated that he never did win a checkered flag, but he never came in last.
He drove so goddamn fast.
I like that Lightning is like kind of perched up inside one of the cycles, just like blasting out the side because.
Yeah,
and you see Bahamut behind her too with Fang. There's a lot of really cool little sequences. Things crashing into the hoops, just getting clipped.
I'm watching this in slow motion now on your recommendation, and Lightning kills 3 people in quick succession. Just murders the shit out of them.
She jumps on one ship,
seconds.
comes on the other, rips him out, sits in that one, and just starts pecking off more guys.
She's like controlling the fucking bike that she's like just thrown a man out of with her like sword that is planted directly in like the front hood of it, and just spinning it around and throwing it at like another one. It's like nuts.
Yeah,
and then the most incomprehensible cut, which is a bunch of soldiers shooting at Hecaton, which is just a massive arm. So, like, what the fuck am I looking at?
Yeah, so Vanille's Eidolon is
kind of shielding her.
It's shielding her with its arm, with its many, many arms, and it looks very wild.
Hecaton just looks more like a robotic version of an Elden Ring boss or something.
Yeah,
it's just
for sure.
A big bouquet
fucking
of arms.
Grafted and shit.
I just paused, by the way, my video on the perfect frame. So now I have to take a snip of it and post it in the Discord. But it's just Saz and the Chocobo in the car just looking cool as shit.
Yeah, that's coming up.
I do think it's very cute that like we get a taste of a lot of different like personality types like throughout all of this, and Vanille's is just her like hiding behind a bunch of the arms, and like 12 dudes just like opening like emptying their entire clip on her, and she's just like, oh no, like, and just like
stop that.
Yeah, and someone shoots a bazooka at her, and they're just like, block this, and she like starts kind of falling off, and she uses her rod to like a bunch of like the fishing lines to just kind of like take a bunch of them with her.
Yeah.
I think during one of the sweeps while she's defending herself, Hecaton like grapples on with like 10 like cables onto one of like the sky tanks, which is kind of Chekhov's gun later, because after she gets like blown away, it ends up like spinning out the air tank because she got like thrown back.
Are you all watching the same walkthrough that I am?
I am watching my playthrough of it.
Okay, so
I'm at 27:39 of the walkthrough.
I just want to say that I'm going a couple seconds, right? I'm going second by second. It is 1 second long, but the coolest second of the entire thing is 27:43. Where it's just like these like carrier ships are crashing into the track.
Yeah.
And then and lightning falls off Odin or something, and she's like,
I think she's on the cycle at that point.
She is on nothing. She is in the air upside
That's right,
down,
because
and she perfectly goes right in between the crashing vehicles, like just barely makes it as she like slowly rotates. And then Odin catches her just as she turns right side up, and she is on the horse again. And I'm like, what is happening?
Because what happened is that when Vanilla gets blasting off with Hecaton, so we get a shot of Saz like going fucking speed racer mode with the Chocobo chick inside Brynhildr, and it transforms and uses its like kind of crossbow staff to just kind of give Hecaton something to like grab onto.
Yeah, and as we said before,
which then the aircraft carrier creates a whole like tumble thing with lightning. It's crazy.
And as you have heard, Alex was like, "Oh, I'm still back on 27:39, 4 seconds before the thing I was saying," and everything he just described happens within like 2.5 seconds.
It's cool as shit.
It's one of these things where, like, if you've been working on this for like months as an animator, it probably feels like, yeah, it's clear what's happening because I lived in it.
Took me an hour to write. I thought it would take an hour to read.
Yeah, this whole cutscene is like 3 minutes long.
And the thing is,
from
right?
from Sid's address to the like end of this cutscene.
The thing is, much like just the fact that the end of FF13 takes place on a fucking like F1 circuit or whatever, I don't hate it because who else would do a scene like this where it cuts every half second to something else happening? So even though it's just like completely unintelligible and I would like knock a point off of any other piece of media for doing it, for 13 I'm going to let it slide and be like, no, they were right. They were right to do it this way.
It's like a summer like blockbuster action movie, like popcorn thing, where it's like you don't have to give a shit why it's happening or anything. Like, you know, like Vinny Chase's heart is about to explode or something, so he needs to like continually like keep his like adrenaline up or something. You know, like it doesn't fucking matter. Like full suspension of disbelief. This looks cool as hell. Like
I love just how fast Lightning is like switching between Odin forms. Where she's on a horseback, she jumps off of him as it turns back into human Odin onto the back of a sky tank.
While she's saying Odin, and like there's a huge thing that's like falling onto them, and Odin's using his fucking shield.
He just like pushes away so it doesn't smush them.
It's really cool. It's absolutely fucking ridiculous.
And then one swift motion just rides him again, like just and then keep going. Like so
obviously we haven't like forgotten because we've been in
charge. I want this like in a remake. This would just be like its own like mini game sequence, like where you're just playing as
suddenly becomes like a rhythm game. Like
it's like a Naughty Dog thing where the perspective of like where you are in the fight like keeps going, and it's just all these weird quick time events. And you're basically doing this. You're just alt moding, but through every character.
Listen, fuck quick time events. Bad game design. We don't need them anymore. But we could do it like in Final Fantasy VII Remake, where Cloud has to dance at the Honeybee Inn and just make it a rhythm game, essentially. And then it's perfect. Then it's the perfect game.
Andreas will judge us by the end. You are perfect.
Obviously, we haven't forgotten about it because we've been in charge of playing as Lightning for most of the game or whatever. But if you had forgotten from the first scene in the entire game, Lightning is a cold-blooded fucking killer.
Yeah.
Like, she kills so many fucking people, and, like, no hesitation, no squaring up or anything. It's just,
no remorse.
Entire, like, vehicles of people just fucking murdered within, like, seconds. It's incredible. Wild.
But, yeah, now we're, like, I guess Lightning has, like, the whole track ahead of her clear, and something starts emerging from the sky, which is
I think that's
the sun.
The sunlight falsy.
Who is the sun? It's not Carbuncle. It's
Carbuncle's
do we know the name?
One,
Phoenix.
The concessions
Phoenix.
one.
Is it called Phoenix?
Yeah.
I don't know if we ever got a name in game.
It was in data log.
Of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that answers our question about the light switch that Reigns must have hit as he was getting ready for the cool.
Oh
F-150, or the not F-150. The
right, we did get a close up of
F1.
the sun. But it's cool. We do see like a sun kind of is we get a quick glance of it kind of turning on in the sky as Lightning looks up on it.
And as it's turning on the
she looks into the sun. Lightning, that's so bad for you.
Yeah, you got to put on your eclipse goggles. Come on. But we see the track underneath us that it's been, like a cyberpunk kind of futuristic.
Now I can actually tell what the fuck's happening.
Yeah. Yeah. The track beneath it starts disappearing. Like it looks like, cyber glass or whatever. So now we're just running on like the rails of it pretty much, which are like solid structures, but not as I don't know. I'm trying to think of like the word for it. Like the things that you use in Portal when you have to shoot a portal and have like the walkway go through it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, was the floor solid this whole time and now it's just like disabling the track or something?
It seems like it disabled the track. So there is some solid stuff, but it looks more
it looks scary to be on, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, it's like scaffolding.
Yeah, it's like
some of it's glass, some of it's just scaffolding. But because they're hover cycles, I'm like, did they even need to have any like bottom to begin with?
Safety measure, I guess.
Whatever. But
it looks cool. That's all that matters.
But Lightning pulls up to the end with her blades out, and we get a nice foreground stompy, which implies that we're about to enter a fight.
Mm-hmm.
And we do
enter a fight. We do, and it's cool because this I think is the only instance so far of us starting a fight in Gestalt mode.
Oh yeah. Except for Snow when he's like rescuing. He crashes.
Oh, that's right.
Oh yeah, good point.
Palom. That was because we start in the motorcycle.
You remember how the first cutscene in the entire game where Lightning goes absolutely ham? We fight the Manasveen war mech at the end of that cutscene.
Oh yeah.
Fucking, it's poetry, baby.
Nice
it
little
rhymes.
bookend.
Yeah. So
he got a paint job.
We are in a battle with the Anavatapta war mech, which is just the Manasveen war mech, but it's blue and red.
Anavatapta. Yeah.
So
it's like black or blue and red instead.
Purple.
And it says O2 on the side. So.
Oh.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, they improved it. It's purple.
Well, I don't know if they improved it because if you just hit auto gestalt or auto battle the whole time, you'll just kill it. So
yeah,
who knows?
I was confused by the walkthrough or watching the person had to retry it.
So I see a thing here. I see because I completely forgot like this is such a non-boss fight. Pretty much, it's cool. It's got a cool presentation, but you pretty much just win. But I was looking it up. I'm like, can you lose to this thing? And the like fandom says that if the war mech survives past Odin, it will use Omnigator to put a bubble around it, making it immune to attacks. Which then you can stagger it with Ravager for it to lose its immunity. But like it says if the player fails to defeat it with Odin, it is recommended to just simply restart to save time.
Yeah.
It's it does.
So just a cool little like victory lap kind of thing, especially after like the last difficult fights that we've had to do. It's kind of nice to get.
It's a cool transition. I like when they like have a cool sequence and then have you kind of like put the cherry on top. It's like, hey, or you finish it. Like you finish this cool sequence.
Yeah.
Instead of it just being more cool like cutscene.
Instead of us just like, okay, now we're here. Now it's time to walk. Like it's kind of neat to kind of transition you into the gameplay.
Interactive cutscene, basically.
Yeah. Now it's beautiful daylight. We can. Do we want to talk about this fight at all or not? It's just kind of.
I don't think there's really too much. Literally, just press X.
We spent 45 minutes just talking about the 3-minute cutscene.
Yeah.
Well, there was a lot going on there. This guy shoots a laser and then he dies.
This guy gets owned by Lightning and Odin, and then if he doesn't get owned, then you restart the fight.
God, I wish that were me.
It doesn't come back like the Manasveen.
Yeah, no, this fully just dissipates after you kill it. It turns purple.
I kind of wish Saz was in the party by default, just to kind of for karma.
Yeah, and also like the time that I had for this fight was 59 seconds, the target time. So I did it in like 29, so I got 5 stars.
Okay. I don't know what I got.
It does drop a Tesla turbine, so keep that thing away from kids because it will have blood on its hands.
We're just leaning into that every episode harder. I guess. But yeah, we finish it. Lightning puts her sword away, and something. There's like we hear something.
Yeah, she says, "What's that sound?" And the camera cuts away to show a highway on Eden, which is very futuristic, right? But there's like just normal people, cars driving down this road.
I guess so. It looks more like an F-Zero racetrack because there's actually a floor on it.
Well, it's futury.
It looks less like a racetrack, but more of like a cyberpunk highway or freeway.
Yeah. But portals.
Another reason why Eden sucks.
But portals start opening and creatures from Grand Pulse start coming out. We see like a juggernaut.
Yeah, we hear the voiceover.
Yeah.
The armies for Pulse, they're using transgates.
Which we got introduced to also in the very first episode.
Yeah, they were I guess Psycom transgates because they were green in that one. This ones are purple, I guess, because they're Pulsean transgates.
Which, I mean,
for some reason.
Presumably that's Daisley faking an invasion.
Yeah,
because I think we heard that like they could all be from the Ark or whatever. Like
I think that gets confirmed later as well. Yeah, like these are all just being teleported from the Ark into Eden. Like,
yes, they're already
here. And if we think back too, if you had Fang in your party, I don't think it was like her just standing there, but she's like, wonder why like wonder what they have this here for.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of foreshadowing towards this.
Like, why is this under Eden? Why would they have a giant arsenal?
Yeah, and we see like juggernauts coming out, and a bunch of the Seath like flying enemies. We see a lot of civilians kind of just walking around and witnessing this happen, like walking around normally, and then just being like, "Oh fuck!"
We see the Adamantoise
coming through. Adamantoise comes out.
Oh my god, yeah, and it like screams into the camera, like directly facing it. And these things are fucking terrifying, dude.
It's fucking Jumanji up in here.
Yeah.
But yeah, as this, like,
the
chaos...
Adamantoids, now that I'm watching it too, is every time we've seen them, they've been kind of just doing a little, a mosey. They're just not,
They're just moseying.
Got nowhere
Lumbering.
to go. They're walking real slow. This one's fucking hauling ass, dude.
These are trained killing machines.
Yeah.
This thing's fucking pissed.
Yeah, it's got the big tusk. It's pissed. Seath everywhere. I kind of love the weird like cubes of that appear when they like cube of shaped bubbles.
Yeah,
when
they like
through
materialize out of geometry. It's interesting.
Yeah,
you can see like SciComm or the Guardian Corps or whoever, whatever regiment.
I think we'll learn the ones in blue. We'll learn I think of SciComm because they're they look much more guilty because they're blue and gold and white.
Yeah, and these are like the elite. Since they're in Eden, there is a data log later that says that these are the elite. Like the only ones who get added to this Guardian Corps are
they're called Archangels.
Yeah, some of the enemy types are, but these ones are like, in order to make it to this rank, you have to be like the best in your ranking, like in your, like Lightning probably could have worked her way up there in a different world, because like the best of each team can get escalated here.
Right.
But we see like more Adamantoids like kind of walking through like, and just civilians running at their feet, and some of them like tripping and falling and rolling. I'm like, oh, those people are super dead.
Those people are so dead.
Like that thing just steps once, and my entire party that has been training and honing themselves for fucking 50 straight hours cannot survive it, and these guys are just like running next to them.
We do see some more sky tanks swooping in, and then we cut back to Sid's his chambers.
Yeah, and Sid's sitting on his like finery, his nice chair, whatever, looking out over it.
Yeah.
And we see like explosions happening in the city.
This is like the Delta Lounge at the airport.
But yeah, there's like he can see what's happening in the city, and there's like explosions going off, and we hear and see gunfire and stuff like that. And so he's kind of just sitting on this couch observing it.
Oh, what can you do? What's
to be done? And a soldier comes in and says, an army of creatures is attacking the city. It's a pulse invasion force. And then that guy gets fucking got immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because Sid kind of is like complacent. He's not really responding.
Yeah. He says, we must evacuate, and then just gets completely fucking iced by Sid's guys there. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I guess it's not.
It's not. Yeah, it's not Sid's. It's Rigdia's men now.
Oh yeah, Rigdia's. That's right. Yeah.
Because the cavalry comes in, fucking fucks that dude right up. They surround
Sid. That Dicely was talking about last episode of like, oh, they're gonna think he's a Falsey puppet or whatever. Like that has proven to be correct. It's not really a prophecy when he's actively trying to make that happen, but it happens nonetheless.
Yeah, it's like telling you there's a prophecy that earlier today I will go get a fish sandwich, and you're like, well,
there was a great prophecy that sometime in the next 24 hours, Curtis will have a tummy ache.
But yeah, we see Rigdia. I keep forgetting his name. Is
Rigdia.
Kurt Russell.
What's his name in Japanese? It says right there.
Rigudia, I think.
The translation says Riggedy. I was like,
oh yeah, there's no A. There's no there. Rigdi, yeah.
Yeah.
Rigodi.
That's true.
But yeah, Rigdia is here. Like he's looking at over the carnage that's happening as next to Sid.
So Reigns, is this the cocoon you dreamed of?
My dream is but a Falsey's fancy now. End it.
He just says end it.
Implying that like just put me out of my misery. Like I'm like my time is up. Like there's really no way this can end well for me, whether if I fight back or not. Probably.
Yeah, just go ahead and fucking shoot me. And Rigdia obliges. Fucking.
I'm guessing that's the loophole to keep Falsey from re-employing you.
Yeah, just blow your brains out, I guess.
Yeah, and damn idealism. Yeah.
Well, yeah. So Rigdia shoots Sid in the head and kills him permanently. It's like Sid is dead now.
It's a very where the music cuts off and we just see the shell flying off. It's very cinematic.
Interesting too, because we get a good look at his the barrel of his gun, and it looks like it has like 3 barrels, kind of like the Cerberus. Only one shell comes off of it, so
it's just FF7 again.
It's a very inefficient revolver.
Yeah, it just looks so damn cool though.
But after he does that, some more SciComm guards come into the room, assuming that they're just going to be like, escorting Sid out or like evacuating him. They have no idea, and they come into that scene and see like, oh, Sid's all over the place. Rigby is there with his gun, and they're like, oh shit, and then so they start like opening fire, and that's when Rigby is like, oh, you damn idealism, you feed it blood and it howls for more, and they all start firing at each other and have a big
pretty cool.
There's a big shootout. It seems that Rigia in the cavalry has survived.
Yeah. And
I like to put a pin in this, actually, specifically because I don't think it ever comes back again. We don't think we see Rigia again in this whole game.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's just.
I found this out because I finished the chapter. I'm like, I think they're supposed to kind of like feed this little B plot that the cavalry is, but they never like really address that, like where they go after this.
Maybe we do. There's nothing cinematic, but there's some scenes later where we kind of learn what happened to the cavalry. So we'll get there.
Okay, yeah.
Probably only good things we can imagine. So that's good.
I assume success on their part, which actually would be bad for everybody. So,
so in that case, well, for the listener, I found a potentially cut scene that they may have just cut because of chronological reasons, where they changed like the order of events, and so they just got rid of them.
Yeah.
Back to the racetrack, I guess.
Yeah, we see our party kind of just looking on and seeing, the...
What's all that?
The shit that's going on. I guess they can kind of see Rain's office from here, or...
Oh, yeah, because...
They see a huge explosion of where, the seat of the sanctum is, I guess. And
that's right, because his office looks over the racetrack, so assuming if there's like a big shootout or explosion in his lounge, we could see it from the track.
Yeah.
And
I forgot how close they were.
But yeah, Snow's like wondering what's going on, and Hope's like, oh, it looks like the cavalry's made their move. And Saz is saying there's more to it than that.
He picks up one of the receivers that was knocked off a SciComm unit, and he hears that over the radio. He's like, oh, they're saying there's like pulse creatures all over the place.
Nasties, dude.
Yeah, and that's when Fang says, fresh off the ark, I'd wager. So that's kind of like the line there. So they like don't know what to do. They're kind of like,
what's happening? And Lightning's like, it's all out war.
Yeah, what are we gonna do?
It's like Hope's like, is this our fault? Did we do this? Like, because Barthalos' prediction came true. It was like, well, yeah, it's because
prediction.
It's his. He rigged it.
Yeah.
It was rigged from the start, kid.
It's like setting up a fuck ton of dominoes and being like, I am going to predict that the last domino will fall, and then like knocking them all over. It's like, yeah, no shit. Yeah, but Snow says, well, his future stops right here. We're the ones who decide what happens next.
Yep, and the party
Everybody else like, let's mosey.
Go. Yeah, they get their little let's mosey, and they're off.
Did we mention that last season? Like every game has its let's mosey moment.
That's right. Yeah,
this is a kind of a pre-let's mosey, maybe, right?
Yeah, it just gets more grim from here. So
it gets mosier and mosier,
mosier and mosier. But yeah, so we're now able to walk through that like scaffolding.
We're on the. It basically feels like we're on, because there's poles like holding things. It feels like we're like walking along lighting fixtures at a Target or something.
Yeah, it does. And because we just got that sweet 500,000 gil from Bhakti, and we opened our new Crystarium, or our 9th Crystarium level. I was so ready and so strong going into this because there's immediately like a save point right in front of you. So I just bought like weapon upgrade materials and I popped all that stuff into the Crystarium. I got high wind, baby. Fang just taking them out, doesn't even care. All my weapons are like level 2.
So you're using high wind?
I did at one point and it saved my life.
Nice. Hell yeah. So were you playing with Fang as your main character then?
In this section, I switched to Fang main. Yeah.
Nice.
Ooh,
I tried to, and then I was like, I do not know her playstyle right now. I gotta stick with Lightning, but I will talk about Army of One and how fucking clutch that has become for me when we get to it.
I'm excited.
And it's funny too, because I'm watching my playthrough, which was at the end of like last week, and I am like 3,000 points away from being able to unlock Army of One. And then I went through like 3 hours of playtime in this area where I could have really used that. And
then remembered to unlock it.
And I was like, oh yeah, I forgot to use that. And then I was trying to find, I'm like, where the fuck is it? And I went all the way there and I was like, oh my God. Like I had started along the path, like away from Army of One thinking.
You were 90% there and ran out of Crystarium points and then forgot about it.
Very funny.
I really do wish the as beautiful as the Crystarium is, it is very noisy, so it's sometimes hard to see like how far your line is gone and whatever. It's
forgetting one and moving on is a nightmare, because then you have so many different paths, and it's like clunky to try and get around with.
Before you like go into each roll, at least it does tell you like how many nodes that you've checked off out of all of them. So like, I missed one.
If it's like 17 out of 21, and then you're like, okay, well, I have like 9 levels of this. Where are the
where is the
one? God,
I have to check every
Thankfully, it
doesn't
cost anything to go back. You can just add on.
Yeah, it's not like the sphere grid where you need to like spend anything to go elsewhere. But
I forget if zooming out like helps you actually see which nodes are still unlocked or not.
I think I think toggle zoom. I think I tried that at one point. It just shows you like the entire like thing itself, and I was just like, it does not help at all.
It's just cool.
Yeah, it is very cool. Cool over function, I'll take it here.
Speaking of the Crystarium, I found that every character, when you start up, quote unquote, their Crystarium, because it has like this kind of cool like crystal in the middle. When you boot up each person's Crystarium, it has their own jingle that plays, which is kind of cool.
Really?
Every Crystarium has like its own. I think because they're linked to like their Eidolons or whatever. It's very reminiscent of like the Xbox 360 kind of thing, but like slowed down.
Sega.
Every single one has its own flavor, which is kind of cool.
I never noticed that. I noticed that they had the little sound, but I didn't notice that they were unique for each.
Yeah, it's very easy to miss. Like Alex pointed it out to me, and then I was like, "Oh shit!" And then I was like, "Wait, is that just like the role that you're in? Because like sometimes you might jump into the Crystarium under Ravager and stuff." And it's like, no, it's specific to each.
Hope's
character.
is like a feather, right? It looks like a feather, or maybe it's Saz's. Like everyone has like a different kind of shape.
Yeah,
to
that's
their
true.
Thing.
Cool, interesting little details. Like a lot of love went into this really fucking clunky upgrade system that gets confusing the more you go into it. But again,
this game is perfect,
cool.
and I will not hear words to the contrary.
Just flatten it out like it looks like in my guide. I'd be happy. Actually, make it more like the tree in World of Final Fantasy, because it is like it looks pretty in 3D, but it is just like still on a 2-dimensional plane, so you can see exactly where you are.
Yeah, I feel like if this just kind of had a list where you could just bypass the cool thing,
if it was just like a drop-down web.
Yeah, but hey. Listen, it's in the remake. They'll fix it. I'm sure they'll be patching that any day now.
So we're at the point now where we can run around the scaffolding and actually like get into encounters with some cool enemies, like one called a Bulwarker that I think looks cool as hell.
Is that one of the little floaty things that we fought in Vile Peaks?
It reminds me of what's the little guys who fly around that Hope didn't get hit by?
Oh yeah, not the tilters. But
it reminds me of one of them, but it's like different. It's like it's white and gold and like armored. Oh yeah, I guess we did fight something like it in the Vile Peaks, didn't we?
They're like tilters, but kind of front heavy.
That's right.
I think is the kind of thing I like. Oh yeah, they're like the gorilla versions of.
Yeah. And I like the design of those. They look very elegant.
Bulwarkers made me think like of chocobos again, like war.
They can bull quayers. Yeah.
I was looking through my play of this area, and when I started off this save file, I took
the Ulan is what we fought.
I took literally 5 whole minutes to upgrade all of Saz, Hope, and Snow's shit. It took me 5 minutes to do it because they had almost 500,000
That's awesome. That feels great though, to just like go through like nodes or whatever and just like bling bling bling,
and the
bling,
noise
bling.
just keeps like ascending. Yeah. It's really, really good.
It's real nice.
I should send you that. I found there's a way to, if you have enough CP to like, even if you like hit a dead end, there's a way to do it so you can keep the tone going up without interrupting.
Where you double tap the button and it goes to the
without touching the stick or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, are you just?
I've done that, and it's kind of tricky to do. So there were certain points where I was like, well, now I need to go backwards a little bit. So let me get ready to do that. And I like try to keep it going. And it feels like dropping a frame or something. Like, shit, I missed the frame perfect trick. Like, it's not that precise, but it had the same feeling.
I found that clip isolated in the files and I was like, I'm just going to make that my ringtone. It's like 35 seconds long of just like a shepherd's tone.
That's awesome.
I'm just going to make that my alarm clock in the morning. Not too much to talk about on the scaffolding, though, right? It's
other than the fact that it looks amazing. Yeah,
it looks super cool. You can see below, like the city proper.
I took a bunch of time to look down into the city, and like
the skybox in this game is amazing. It's so
everything is done. Like it doesn't like it doesn't unfocus because it's so far away. Like if you pan down and look at the ground, you can see like streets and buildings and like everything's there.
This really makes me want to have a no clip or like a just a free cam in this area. It'd be really cool to look at it because I'm sure it's super low poly when you get down there, I would imagine. But it looks
if it's even poly, it might be like just
it's not even a poly, it's just a skybox.
Yeah, it might just be a skybox.
Oh damn, so if it's just like a texture, we're
inside a sphere. Yeah,
it's a really impressive texture then.
It really is.
Yeah, it's cool. I love there's still the signs from the race all everywhere. They're look like Coke logos and shit. Marquees everywhere that says like Eden. I like that there's like a giant banner on the side of the track that says speed in like big letters.
Is that what that says? I'm looking at it right now.
In the concept art I sent you, actually, the black and white sketch of like the racetrack.
Really?
There's like this 5 big letters at the top. It just says speed.
Oh, it does. That's awesome.
I think I might have missed a treasure.
Yeah, there's a lot of treasures hiding out on the on little.
I, for the life of me, I went down every branching path, and I'm watching now, and I was like looking at like the area below me, and I'm like, wait, there's obviously a fucking treasure right there that I just did not get, and I just ran right past it.
Oh no! Oh,
I spent a lot of time looking at the mini map on this because it is hard to kind of figure out like what parts are walkable because it is just a lot of tangents.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's walkable and what isn't like perfectly well delineated, but it's not bad. It's not like it's not hard to get around.
It's fine. You'll reach certain points that have like down velocicycles and stuff. That's like a weird obstacle that doesn't really. It's not like too maze-like. It looks cool, but it's like just kind of like. I'm sure there's a critical path that you can go through and doesn't really incentivize or reward exploration too much.
Yeah,
there is a chest containing a weapon for lightning that is guarded by a few flying teeth.
What is that one?
It's the lion heart.
Oh, that's right, the lion heart.
Dude, I missed the lion heart.
Oh my gosh,
that lets you use
What's that? What's that?
Yeah, that lets you use the ultimate limit break lion heart.
Which I guess is just Omni/Harmony of One.
Quick stagger and random instant chain.
Nice.
Which is cool.
I want to I want to pull that up and see what it looks like. Oh, that looks cool as shit. I wonder if I can backtrack and get that. Not that I would really use it. I'm kind of married to the one.
It would be available in the shops now, maybe, because I don't think you can backtrack because we'll find out later we jump down.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure if we can go back up.
Yeah.
Well,
much like in Final Fantasy VIII, Lionheart is missable. Except in 8, it's actually not missable. It just seems like it is.
Is the Lionheart also in 8?
Yeah, that's
what it's from.
Ultimate weapon. Yeah, it's a reference to that, I would imagine.
Hell yeah!
And it's like his last name, sort of too.
Oh yeah,
his last name's Leon, in the same way that my last name's Germ.
Oh yeah, what was the?
Speaking of FFA, the one we're doing next season.
Oh, speaking of names, there's the one weapon we got last, which is the Haute-Claire.
Haute-Claire has Claire in the name.
Oh,
I wonder if that's intentional. Which I think Haute-Claire might just also be another thing in like mythology. I think they tend to do.
If I remember correctly, there is an etymology there. Which, I mean, it could also be why they, gave Lightning the name Claire.
Who knows? But all I know is we get to the end of the racetrack and there is nowhere else to go. There's like a
If only we could fly like we did at the beginning of the cutscene.
Yeah. Listen, we all ran out of TP, okay?
It's a refactory period.
If only there was some kind of MacGuffin set up in the intro cutscene of the game to help us down. Because basically, like, we see that the next area that we can go, and like, the action is happening on the ground of the city. That's where everything's, like, actually taking place at. All the
That's probably where we were headed, but the ship just crashed into the track. We felt obligated to kind of deal with that mess.
Could be. And yeah, the party doesn't know how to get down there. Lightning's like,
specifically Vanille doesn't know how to get down there.
Yeah.
If only we could fly, she says.
And she says, we can jump. And just jumps off because Lightning's fucking insane.
Where we're going, we don't need to fly.
Yeah. And everybody, and like the party kind of like in turn is like, oh, see you down there, Vanille. Oh, no big deal. And like everybody keeps jumping off. And
Saz does like a dive, like he holds his nose.
Like he's jumping into water.
I do like that we can see Lightning holding it. So like if you're paying close attention to this, you're like, oh, I know where this is going. Like, it's very funny.
But yeah, as they do that, Vanille's just like, what are you doing? Oh, wait a minute. Oh, and like freaking out that everybody's just jumping off.
See you ground side, says Snow and whatever. You all crazy.
I love that Fang says, yeah, like this will be fine, just don't drop the gizmo.
Yeah, the gizmo, yeah. And I guess does Lightning give them to everybody, or how did it?
Lightning gives one to Vanille. Everyone else kind of already has them.
Okay.
So presumably she probably just had a bunch of them for everyone.
Stocking stuffers.
I do love that Vanille just like has a like really a lot of concern in her voice when Fang jumps and when she says Fang. Like it's really good. I really like that.
But they have the little what are the gravity packs called?
The AMPs or whatever. Like
I can't remember the name of them. The
Grav something.
It's in the inventory. It's in the inventory. Remember, like if you open up items, you can go see what it's called. Let me start my FF13 game up real quick, and I'll go into the inventory.
But yeah, we see everyone kind of falling really quick towards Earth. Everyone's pretty like relaxed of it. Lightning,
except for Vanille, who's
just flailing all around. Lightning does a cool little flip when she lands in her force field. Snow does the superhero.
She throws it down, but it's like a grenade. It actually reminds me of like when they were inside the train at the beginning cutscene, because it basically just throws them up in the air and they have like no idea what the fuck's happening.
The GravCon unit, which uses the antimatter manipulation principle. That's right.
Yeah.
Who could forget?
That
thing from 13 chapters ago. I love all the cutscene. You see like Chocobo Chick is freaking out, even though Chocobo Chick was the one who made the landing perfectly the first time.
That's right. You're right.
Yeah.
Like the 10-point landing.
Could be like having fun though. You know, maybe Chocobo Chick it's like a roller coaster for Chocobo Chick. Not fear, but exhilaration.
Yeah.
Craves death.
Lightning's such a fucking tryhard, dude. Like, so everyone else just kind of lands in their thing. Actually, she
throws it on the ground and then shoots it when it's in the middle.
And I was like, oh, maybe that's overkill.
It must
but I
amplify
think she is actually. Oh, dude, that's even cooler. No, she is. I think it's her shooting each individual one as she's like avoiding fire from these other ones.
She shoots like when she shoots her core, it's in the middle of a group of PsyCom soldiers too.
Yeah,
and it just like flings them all out
and don't know what to do.
Yeah, it's really good.
So I guess these are bullet activated technology, which
BATs.
Good thing she's a good shot, dude. Holy shit. She shots everyone's. Otherwise they would be surely dead.
So she lands, Saz lands with gingerly catching Chocobo Chick, who's like, whoo! Just like that was a close one. Hope lands, Snow lands, and then like eventually we see Fang and Vanille's like, you should have warned me. Right. And everyone's like, oh, that's just how we get around here on Cocoon.
Yeah, and then I think Hope
says
is like,
that's how
light gets around.
Yeah. But yeah, so we're like finally in control again, and we're facing down a street. We're like on one of these like elevated streets. And
yeah, it feels like a kind of a corridor like for pedestrians because of how it connects to the rest of the city.
And ahead of us is like a bunch of barriers with various PsyCom units looking right at us, but they're at least being nice enough to let us shop at the save point first. So like they don't run after us, but everybody's looking dead ahead right at you.
They see us gluing a bunch of particle accelerators to our guns, and they're like,
We'll just wait for them.
I'll let them finish.
I want to see where it goes with this.
But yeah, that might be a good time to take a break.
Let's take a break. Let's take a break my damn knees.
Yeah, you gotta land more gracefully.
That's right. All right, see you in a minute.
Last cutscene when we saw Ridgia, actually, like when he said like "damn idealism," I thought he it just had such a familiar voice, so I looked him up, and apparently he's played by Josh Robert Thompson, and he's mostly known as just a guy who's on Family Guy and American Dad just to impersonate other celebrities. Like that's his whole gig.
Really?
Oh wow, good for him. That's pretty
so
sick.
That's all he does is just the impersonation. So I think it's kind of cool.
I got a tattoo recently, and our tattoo artist had some like later seasons of Family Guy just playing as she was tattooing Frostbot and I, and it was extremely nice. That's not like usually a show I'll like pop on and like try and watch in the year 2022, but it was like very comfy. You know, it felt like, you know, like hanging out with my friends in my college days, just having Family Guy on in the background. It was really nice.
Like I can just imagine like waiting to get a tattoo, and you and the tattoo artist and your friends are just going, Peter, Peter. Anyway, yes. So I'm in a killing mood. Let's fucking kill some Psycom members. The Psycom guys here are easy breezy.
Yeah.
But yeah, these barricades they're kind of guarding. Or I think they're the same kind of barricades that we saw at the Gapra Whitewood. They're like those kind of floating hexagons.
Yeah, they are.
Well, I find this interesting because every time we go to into a battle, we get teleported into a battle screen.
Yeah.
What I think is funny is that this corridor turns into like a full ass highway width apart when we're in fight.
Yeah.
It's like, what?
With ceilings high enough to launch. I think that happens a little later as well, like towards the end of this area where we kind of go into like, it almost looks like a movie theater. We'll get there when we get there, but like there's like clearly a ceiling above us, and it's like the lighting changes inside of it. And when you get into a battle, it just looks like you're outside again.
Oh yeah.
It's like fighting in fucking Hope's apartment or whatever, and then it's suddenly
yeah,
like
that's what I always think about.
Blew the roof off. Yeah,
I will say though, it is beautiful. Like it's
really
incredible
nice
looking. Like
I noticed all the water on the ground for some reason. It's really weird. Like the ground's just wet.
Is it? I couldn't tell if it was wet or if it was like the texture.
I assumed
of the
it was
ground.
like gold.
It's glass.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just the way it ripples on the when it hits the light. It's really
It does. Yeah.
It definitely looks like water looking back at it. I kind of just assumed it was very like elegant gold, you know, where the streets are paved with gold. We're going to be living on Easy Street right there in Leviathan Plaza.
That's right.
Oh yeah, there are streets. You notice, Carl, that certain areas of Eden are named after different gods and stuff.
Yeah, I think everyone is named after like former summons from Final Fantasy games, like Ramu Interchange, Siren Park, Leviathan Plaza, the Skywalk, which we are on currently.
Yes, named after the Jedi.
Yeah, that's right.
The ultimate summon in World of Final Fantasy, Luke Skywalker. Actually, you know what? Fucking Luke Skywalker's probably in Kingdom Hearts or some shit by now, right?
No, I'm waiting. I'm waiting for Winnie the Pooh and Kylo Ren to hang out.
Come on, get on it, Nomura. I want to see Nomura's take on Luke Skywalker's cool goth outfit from...
just has more zippers, ruining all the rules of Star Wars design. You're not supposed to have
belts.
zippers.
So at the end of...
These enemies here aren't really... There's not too much going on with them in these battles.
There's the new Pantheron variant, right?
The Adamantheron, yeah.
Which is interesting. Does that mean they've like used adamantoise like DNA in them or something?
I wonder if it's that or if it's like the adamant.
Adamantite or whatever.
Adamantite, yeah, to bolster them up.
Yeah, to be their armor or whatever.
Yeah.
Oh.
There's the Sanctum Seraph, which I think one of these enemies sends out like a little targeting ball that you can fight, or you can do what I did, which is just completely ignore it and kill it.
There was an enemy who did that a couple chapters ago.
The targeting beacon is what those are.
Yeah.
I was like, is that something I have to worry about? What is that?
It was much more difficult before, if I remember right, the targeting beacon. But now it's not a big deal.
I do like the angel naming convention of all the enemies here. Like Eden,
we're very much in the Holy Office. Is actually
the Holy Office of Eden. Yeah, everything's very biblical.
I think
the white and gold colors too.
The Sanctum is called the Holy Office in the Japanese, like in literal translation. It's called the Holy Office.
Makes sense.
The Sanctum, which it's the churchy elements are just gonna.
They're really going hard with that.
Yeah.
Soon we will find our communion for the first time this season.
Yeah, are we going to fight the Eucharist in this?
Lightning just throws the Eucharist into the air and shoots it, and the Jesus Eidolon comes out of it.
He unmounts the cross and uses it as a fucking hammer or some shit. He transforms. He
just transforms into like a hovercraft.
He's got him on his arms.
Yeah,
and he can shoot bullets out of the crosses on his arms.
But yeah, at the end of this little hallway, we see like a little I don't know if it's a teleporter or an elevator, but I think
it's an elevator because of the establishing shot next.
It's a dumbwaiter.
Yeah,
a series of tubes.
I mean, what
is some kind of tube?
Yeah, but there's some Psycom soldiers who stop us there, and
we get a little cutscene.
Yeah, we see some Psycom soldiers using the elevators, and then other ones block our path when they see us and say, Eden's under our jurisdiction, and they come to
They think we're with the
us.
cavalry, I think, because they say cavalry stand down.
Oh, that's true at first. At first they think... No, wait, I'm sorry. They're actually talking to the other cavalry soldiers.
So cavalry are like hitting the elevators, right?
The cavalry are hitting the elevators, yeah, and they say... stand down, Eden's under our jurisdiction, and then we roll up and they're like, oh shit, and they have to fight us to keep us from getting on the elevators. But that doesn't work because they're babies and they suck, and so we murder the shit out of them and we get on those elevators.
So we're hot on the cavalry's tail is kind of what this is implying.
I think so.
Yeah, it's kind of a race to the heart of the city to make sure we can stop the cavalry
doesn't
from
kill orphan,
ushering in the apocalypse when they're trying to prevent the apocalypse.
We're gonna burn down the orphanage. These elevators look like helmets. They look like the frickin' who's the bad guy in the Buzz Lightyear universe?
Zurg, right?
Zurg. Yeah, it looks like a Zurg helmet that you walk into.
Imagine, if you will, you're looking at Zurg from the hit Square Enix game Kingdom Hearts 2, I assume.
That's about right. Because the camera pans over, we see those elevators, and they do, I think, just go straight, like an access elevator to the highway, or a pedestrian-like elevator, because we are, like, pedestrians at this point.
And it takes us down to like a little, it looks like an access elevator because the area it takes us to is on the side of like a tunneled highway.
This is like those doors you always think about. Well, I mean, I do when I'm driving through a tunnel.
I think about it all the time.
Yeah. Oh my God.
It's like, what's behind there? Like,
who's in there? Whose office is that? That commute must suck.
Is this where the show is?
That's the best part of the Final Fantasy VII remake is you get to go into the doors on the side of a tunnel.
Sit down on a bench and buy some potions out of a vending machine.
Yeah, they got a bench and a vending machine back there.
Listening to the bombing run, but with like a cool jazzy.
That's right.
Yeah. You find
in
the
background
of
the jukebox. But the party has a discussion where like Saz is like, so what's the deal with the cavalry? Why are they here? And Lightning, tells us, the audience, once again, the cavalry is here to kill Orphan. If they kill Orphan, that will be bad. We should not let them do that. And so, like,
Orphan is basically the heart of Cocoon, right?
Yeah,
and
that's like the party.
Fang literally says, right, and if they destroy it, bad things are going to happen.
Yeah. It's kind of like, it's once again, it's all the information we've already heard, but they need to one more time to the audience be like,
basically, Cocoon
by the way.
is
also, I wonder if we didn't read any of the data logs, and just kind of were playing through it and not really talking about it in depth each week.
Maybe
it could easily kind of go over your head because you're like, wait, what the fuck? Like we thought we had to kill Orphan, now we're trying to save Orphan, and why is the one army trying to kill? It's a confusing.
Our
thing,
focus is to destroy Orphan because that's right. Because they want us to destroy Cocoon.
Supposedly, our focus literally just showed us Ragnarok. Like we don't know.
We basically found out a few like cutscenes ago that I guess maybe a few, like, chapters ago at this point that like Cocoon itself is a fallacy of sorts, right? And like we kind of
I think it's a construction. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think no. It's
because I thought Orphan is a fallacy. I don't know if that's true.
Orphan is a fallacy.
Orphan's a god.
And Orphan powers.
Cocoon is just something to hold everything in. Basically, just again the prophecy or whatever is just fallacy. We're like, well, we need to bring back the Maker. So the only way that we can do this is by sacrificing enough people to make enough ripples that can then bring about him coming back.
I think there's only 4 gods, if I'm not mistaken. It's like Lindsay.
Yeah, the Father, the Son, and the Holy, and the Spirit.
That's right. Yeah, I think there's Lindsay, there's Etro, there's Pulse, and the Maker. Stevie Nicks, yeah. Stevie Nicks, the Maker. And I think those are like the 4. And then their creations are the fallacy, I believe.
Gotcha.
If I'm not mistaken. And I may be.
I
know everybody's going to be like, oh, but Curtis, you silly fool. Don't you know about the true god of Final Fantasy 13-3? Yes, I know.
Nomura, we'll get it. We know. He's the god.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Nomora's world we're all living
I know.
in
it comes up in the Eidolon texts as well. If you translate those, I think it's the goddess is mentioned that we know of.
Yeah. That's Etro, I believe, yeah.
Yeah, spoilers, I guess, for
Is that spoilers?
13 too.
I think so. I did not know.
It's important to the game. I think we've heard a little bit about Etro.
I don't know if we have in any data logs or anything.
Really?
I know we've talked about it in hushed terms.
We did once last time. Last time we heard about it because we know
that
the reason...
Did we hear about it by name, though? Because I remember hearing about
it just says the goddess.
Yeah, Curtis out here fucking...
Shut up.
She's unnamed, I think, in 13, but we know her name, I think, by 13 too, or something like that.
And actually, there's some stuff that earlier in the season I was like, oh, put a pin in this, but I actually don't know where it actually says it, so I'm just hoping that it comes up eventually.
Yeah, exactly.
Because there's like a thing that we may get to in this episode that's like the most important thing, and like I don't think they ever name it or point it out or go like, hey, look at that thing even. So like, whatever.
But anyway, we're on the shoulder of this highway, and Transgates start opening up.
Yeah, fucking
and all these cars just start getting fucking owned immediately.
I would hate to be in these cars.
Toad's Turnpike has been overrun by pulse nasties, and no blue shell will save you.
This is really selling the pulse motives, because we know the pulse hate cars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. That's right. Yeah.
It's like, fuck your transit, fuck highways.
Yeah, I can't remember where it was, but there's a point where there's like a car, and Vanille says, "What is that?"
Really?
Did we talk about that already? I can't remember if that was. I think that's in this episode somewhere. There's just field dialogue of Vanille saying, "What is that?" And it's like literally just a car. And I was like, "Wait, what? What is Vanille talking about? Like, is it something in the distance?" And it's like, no, she might literally just not know what a car is
maybe.
because she's super based. And then, but awesome. I was thinking about that too, and I'm like, no, she fucking knows what a car is. One of her friends fucking turned into a car or whatever. Like, she watched Saz turn into a car. Like,
well, maybe she thinks it's an Eidolon, but it's like
some sort of Eidolon thing.
Yeah. By the way, so there are behemoths here, and like I feel like the behemoths here are kind of tough. They're a little hard.
Yeah.
There's a few of them.
There's a couple different classes of behemoths here. The one that we're fighting
the
right
later
now,
ones, I can't even do it.
These ones, I think it's these ones.
This is a Behemoth King we get into mandatory.
Oh, this one's just a Behemoth King. We fought 1 million of these by now doing the missions.
Have we fought 1 million of these? Oh, well, we fought the ones that like
we fought one in a
half HP and are fighting another beast. Yeah.
This one wasn't too difficult, I don't think, but there's like a class of this later that is much harder.
That's a motherfucker.
And it comes in a variant where there's just 2 of them.
There's what? Yeah, when that happened, I was like, fighting. No, thank you.
Yeah, specifically with this, like I saw this Behemoth King and I was like, oh my god. And then I was like, wait, I've been fighting these since 2 chapters ago or whatever. I'm not that scared of them by now. And then immediately after this, we see a cutscene of the like stupid little frog guys that are just like all over the chocobo. And I was like, no. I was so afraid.
Oh my gosh! But yeah, we fight through Sahagin, we fight through the Behemoth King. There's also just like
Saz, as he sees the frog, Saz just says, "We're never gonna make it." Not meaning like we can't win these fights, but basically like it is a race against the clock in 2 respects. 1, almost Seath time. 2, we have to stop the cavalry from killing Orphan, and
that's right.
Thus the world or whatever.
Very in line with your thinking, Carl, because it shows you Sahagins pop up in that. So we're like, oh no, we're doomed.
There's no escaping this shit.
Behemoth King's no problem. Fucking
I keep
frogs.
using Ravager. I don't know why this fight is so hard. Oh, right. There's also like some pedestrians around here that you can kind of talk to. They don't really say anything of too much interest. Just like, oh, don't let me die. And like, oh, where are we even supposed to run? But
wham.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had pedestrians to talk to. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not since Palimpolum, really.
This chapter is really long. Like there's a lot to it that you go to a lot of different areas. And as you continue through, I do like that it gives you a sense of what the situation is. Because, like, we start to say, like, right now, we're seeing pedestrians for the first time. Don't let me die. What do I do? Where do I go? And then as we continue through it, people are like, well, I'm going to try heading here. Let's head there. Maybe that'll be safe. And then you end up going there. And then it's not safe. And then people are like, well, now where are we going to go? Let's try going here. And so
like, are we really safe here? Yeah. We're in Edenhall.
Yeah, exactly. And so you get this sense of like everybody trying to find safety, and some of the places that are supposed to be the most safe, you visit those places and you see them start to be overrun. And so like everything keeps getting backed up to the seat of the sanctum. Like everybody's heading to the Capitol building.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so like it's nice because there's like
everyone's trying to get out of Washington D.C. We're the only schmucks trying to get in.
yeah. Well, it's cool because like there's like a bit of a narrative progression in that way. It's not just like buildings falling down and like roads getting blown up. There's a sense of like, oh, shit is getting more and more dire as we go.
It's also pretty cool to see this from not just like a gameplay, like the further you go into your destination, the harder the enemies get, but in kind of like a meta context where it's like Bartandalis' plan. Like, so we get here, we're on these highways and we're fighting like not the hardest enemies on Pulse, and then the further in we get, like Bartandalis is just dispatching like extremely difficult things in the heart of the city.
Yeah. And it's like,
which seems counterproductive to his whole thing of like, we need to have Orphan kill. Like, he's already succeeded in making it seem like there's a war of Pulse. Yeah. Like, the cavalry's dead set. Like, maybe don't throw a fucking giant adamantoise right outside the place that you need them to be.
Yeah, that's fair. I know that he like does say that, like, you know, if you don't do it, and even if the cavalry can't do it, we'll just have them all rip each other apart. Because in the end, like, the goal is to get the Maker to come back. So I guess whether or not Cocoon falls, as long as everybody dies,
whether through the death of Orphan or just through the massive casualties that are bound to happen.
Yeah.
We do have to fight a proto-behemoth, which I think this might be the one that you were talking about. We know that this one
it's not quite the one I was talking about yet, but this guy is an asshole as well.
Oh yeah, this one's not that bad.
That's the red one, right?
For a very specific reason. When he goes into his stand-in like a guy mode, he does not gain all of his HP back.
God, thank God.
And the reason for that, I think, is because he's one of these ones HP. That has been taken by the Sanctum and augmented. So not as good as the real thing. He can still stand like a guy, but you lose something in that trade of upgrading them.
Fair enough.
Before I reach them, we also like the ceiling gets blown in, and we fight one of those aerial enemies.
I hate those guys.
Amphisbena.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The flying the Grand Pulse version of like the Garuda.
Yeah. It's real gnarly. It's like got hair and feathers. It's kind of more Muppety looking.
It does that move, feeding stoop or whatever it's called, the feeding swoop, and I hate it because it'll just kill you in one hit. But I didn't get killed. It was fine.
Cool.
We get the Rebel Heart here, which is a weapon for Snow, who I will probably never use. And that weapon I also will never use.
Yeah.
What is that, like a Bruce Springsteen-ass, like?
Yeah. Billy Idol or whatever.
Yeah.
There's a
big wall that we can hop over.
Yeah.
And we see a familiar thing kind of just waiting for us.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Y'all remember that guy Roche?
That Roche, who I was fully convinced was dead and also completely
because he got fucking full of bullets. Is that why you thought he was dead? Because me too.
We did see him. I mean, we did see him on our escape from the Palamecia. He was chased us to the Ark.
Oh, that's right.
So that's where we saw him in his like cool souped out weird flying bug, which is what this is.
Yeah, we see his weird flying bug.
I have you now, let's see.
Yeah,
where he says.
Yeah,
and he's caught up. Actually, I think we get a hint of this because as we're walking the highway, we do hear over the intercom Roche's voice. It's like, oh, that fucking guy's here.
That fucking guy.
And who could forget such a voice?
It's a good voice.
It's a very good voice, but again...
Attention all SciComm personnel. Eliminate all pulse threats and protect Cocoon.
Yeah. I just completely forgot this guy existed. I was like, oh yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, this fucko.
Oh yeah, there's the other shoe that I forgot about. It's finally dropped.
But yeah, he walks out. He is out of his vehicle.
Crab.
his giant enemy crab and
his Gundam.
Yeah, and Snow's like, "Oh, Roche," and he's like, "Oh, I see your power has grown, Mr. Villiers," which I like for some reason. Do
you want to speak on that a little bit, Alex? Because I know you had a fun little bit of trivia on that.
Oh yeah, so I was ripping the text in this, and it kind of makes sense because I think in American like fiction, 21 years old tend to be just like aged up to like adults.
Yeah.
In America. But when Roche sees Villiers, he calls him Snowcoon.
Oh, really?
Yeah, which I think, like, okay, it makes sense. Like,
he does.
More as, like, a teenage,
you're right.
More of a teenage heartthrob, I guess, and like in the Japanese original version, he's still more of a kid, which makes sense of why he would hang out with Nora, which like a bunch of little, like, just a bunch of punks. It makes sense, but I thought it was very funny, like
Snowcoon,
that the military just seems like, oh, this fucking kid won't leave me alone.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah. Roche calls him Oni-chan, which.
I see your powers have grown, Snowcoon.
But
very cute, very cute.
I see your power has grown, Mr. Villiers. No matter. We will lay down our lives if that is what it takes to stop you.
And then Snow says what I'm thinking too. He's like, "Yo, we're on the same side now. We can not do this.
We can be boys, dude. We can
be bros." And he's like, "Oh, I don't trust you. You're Lassie. We can trust the pawns no more than the fal'Cie who move them. Humanity's fate rests in its own hands." So I guess he's become like entirely Sid pilled or like cavalry pilled, because like that was their whole thing.
I think he is just I think the whole point of this character is he is like sticking to his guns to a fault. Like this is all he knows. He thinks he talks about it a little later as well, where he kind of realizes that his faith was misguided.
Well, he's already kind of changed sides here. I mean, he does like believe in the same thing technically, which is like the safety of the citizens of Cocoon at the expense of like incredible violence against people.
Right, but I think it's not until much later that he kind of maybe just because we kicked the shit out of him and he realizes, but he's fully fal'Cie pilled. He's a religious zealot.
Well, now he's not, because he's like, I don't trust l'Cie or fal'Cie. Right in this scene, because he was the first time, because he was against us, he was against the cavalry, so he didn't like the fal'Cie or the l'Cie. Now he does, or no, he did like the fal'Cie but not the l'Cie, because he was on their side, and now he's not on their side because he's like, no, now fal'Cie and l'Cie are bad. And then later he's like, okay, we just have to believe in ourselves.
We can trust the pawns no more than the fal'Cie that move.
Yeah, we can trust pawns no more than the fal'Cie.
So, yeah, he's starting.
So he's saying like, wait, I think he's saying the fal'Cie. I think he specifically means the pulse fal'Cie.
Oh,
so
maybe
like,
so.
Yeah, fal'Cie doesn't necessarily mean.
It's like I trust Eden and like that fal'Cie. So like, I will trust anything that falls in our
hands.
And
I guess not everybody knows.
He sees it as a Cocoon versus Pulse thing. Like we are on the side of Pulse. Yeah. We are part of the problem.
And I guess not everybody knows that Dicely is Bartendalus either.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
He might just be like,
he faked his death, like Sid's back to took the reins.
He's just fully like he is fully in the I am going to protect Cocoon at all costs sort of way, and not even in like a Sid way, kind of like where he's like, oh well, I can have my own free will. He's just like, no. Nevertheless, even if you say we're on the same team, we have to. I'm going to kill you because I don't trust you or your shitty fal'Cie.
And he gets in his big crab.
He's being very noble. He's like the most dedicated fucko ever. He's like, I'm just going to do it. I don't care. Yeah. Like you can't fool me.
And he does get in his giant crab Gundam, which has a name that just reminds me of FF7. It's just FF7 again.
Yes.
Incredible.
Yeah, we mentioned this last cutscene, but it is the Proud Clad.
This is the Proud Clad.
Clad, right.
Goodness.
No, I want roast beef. You Clad.
I love the design of this thing because
it's got like a Tengu face on the front or something. It's
in the beginning, into this fight, it does a thing where it spins upside down, so it has like two positions. It has crab mode and kind of the Ashumnal style thing,
the subjugator,
where it's like a flying kind of like mantis instead.
Yeah, so really he like cool. Jumps into the
he kind of gets beamed
into like the cockpit, and then it spins around, so it's got like the attack mode or whatever with the Tengu, like you said, the Tengu mask kind of face.
That's his like assault mode or whatever. Yeah. It's freaking cool.
It's a super cool design.
The animations are just super like fast and like uncomfortable because these, as we saw in the big chase with this thing, it has these kind of floating guns that just kind of follow it around in an array that aren't really attack, but they just like come around and just like point like 10 guns. It's like the knife cat meme where the cat's like has like a million knives.
Yeah. They just appear over top of you and then immediately.
Yeah, they just like beam in. Like they could easily just like drive into you and probably just turn you into salsa, but they decided to stop right there and just pelt you with bullets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this thing's very cool. It's very aggressive, and can really kick your ass if you're not paying attention. Yeah,
it's kind of tough. I think I lost to it once, maybe twice. Frankly, it's a little bit challenging.
I definitely lost to it once. I'm trying to remember specifically. I think I took it out the second time with like a little smarter playing.
This does in some way feel like Sky Tank Part 2 because of just the vibe of like kind of what this thing is weak against versus like how strong and fast it is.
Yeah. It's
but like the Sky Tank, it can't debuff you, so it's good to just like have a synergist on hand.
Yeah, so I was still using Lightning Fang and Vanille, and after the first time I was like, okay, well I can't debuff it, so now I just need to change Vanille's role so that she is no longer wasting turns just trying to, she's not going to try and actually debuff him, and it wouldn't be successful anyway, so just played it a little better and not too difficult. It was like a 3-star fight for me. It took me like 6 minutes and 50 seconds out of like target time of 7:23, but
yeah, I think the dangerous thing is that like once you stagger it the first time and it comes out or it like leaves stagger, it uses a technique called Limiters Deactivated, which gives it like a bunch of health back and it buffs itself permanently, like its defense and strength and all that stuff. And
why was it limiting itself?
Does it give that here?
Yeah, even on the first encounter it does. And then it starts hitting you with a retaliatory strike, which does a shitload of damage. And all of its like, and every time it recovers from stagger, it's like lasers are stronger, and so like it just keeps getting worse. Like the more you do, it's tough.
It's a doozy.
It's a doozy of a fight. It is.
Yeah, it can get out of hand pretty quick. You got to stay on top of your health here for sure.
Yeah. So
it's a juggle. We'll talk about that probably next episode. But
yeah, spoilers. This isn't the only time we fight this thing.
But yeah, it's fucking cool. I don't know if there's anything really that wants to talk about it. Like kind of what you were saying is just kind of keep an eye on your health because it doesn't.
The limiter's attack in this instance does not. I don't believe it heals it up. At least not to full.
Yeah, not to full. Not to full. Yeah.
Okay. Spoiler for the next fight. Oh boy. He does drop a particle accelerator, which is pretty nice.
Indeed, he does.
So after we defeat Proudclad, someone, I don't think it's Roche, says, "That's all she can take. Fall back." And the script just says operator.
Oh yeah, like someone I think it's the same person who was like, yeah, it's like a dispatcher. But
fall back it does. It does a cool little flip and flies off into parts unknown, never to be seen again until next week when it's a much, much fucking harder fight. They kind of give us a little bit of exposition here as well with Vanille being like, yeah, I don't get it. Like, we're on the same side. We want the same thing. Why can't we just work together? Like, it'd be really nice to have the Proudclad on our side instead of having to fight it. Fang just says, yeah, like, these people are so blinded by fear, they can't even imagine it. Are we too late? And Snow keeps the optimism up by saying, not yet, and we can't give up. No one else knows the truth.
Yeah. And Lightning's like, only we know about the plan to destroy Cocoon, and Hope says, and the fallacy behind it, Bartendalis. So, at very least, like we saw last time.
We got the cool knowledge.
Yeah, the cool knowledge. But like we saw last time, they're kind of like, the most important thing is that we set in motion the idea to save these people. Like, if some people listen to us and hear our story, maybe we can save everything. So right now, nobody else knows about the plan. So
yeah, Saz underlines that by saying once everything is finally out in the open, people are going to have to wake up from this nightmare. And Lightning says, "Let's show them how human we still are."
Yeah,
because at this point, everyone is thinking that the Lissi are just a part of the Pulse invasion, quote unquote, and that they are literal monsters. Like they're terrified of them.
Right. I do like the way you get out of this area. I think it's pretty cool. There is like
a nice diagonal elevator.
A nice like access shaft with a diagonal elevator in it to like one of the struts that hold the highway up, and you get down to like presumably the ground floor, or at least ground floor-esque of Eden. With that,
I mean, every video game has to have a diagonal elevator at some point.
Every good one, at least.
This one's small though; it's not like a battle diagonal elevator.
Yeah, this isn't like us fighting hordes of enemies as we go down in slow motion. And
this is like you put your hard hat on and write something down on your clipboard while you're taking it.
Safety inspector.
That's right.
This one's kind of weird in that you can run around a little bit in it.
A very little bit.
In the cutscene, and then Lightning will say something and she just kind of stops and stands still for a while. And then after she's done talking, you can run around again. And I was like, okay, well.
Almost like it's loading in another area.
But actually, at the bottom of this area, though, is the battle that I almost lost. I was about that.
We get another cutscene.
We do get another cutscene. We're
on street level. One of those berserkers, I guess it's called a tyrant now, is charging some Psycom arms down the highway. They hit it with a bazooka, and like you see this big cloud of smoke. Like, oh, did we get it? And from the cloud of smoke comes a fucking adamant child.
An adamant child, yeah.
Which is the smaller adamantoise, so a little more, a little faster.
But smaller, still being like stories and stories tall.
It's about, it's Brontosaurus height.
Yeah, very, very scary.
They're Brontosaurus height.
You've seen them.
They do exist. But yeah, and like it's getting ready to just like absolutely fucking stomp down these
stomping turts.
Yeah, these Psycom soldiers, and they all fall back, right? They're like fall back, suppressing fire, and they start closing a gate so that like they can get away from this adamantoise. But one of the guards is left behind. He gets closed out after the gate closes, and he's like, "Oh my god, please open up!" And he's like banging on the gate trying to
literally
get them to open.
the Eric Andre let me in.
yeah, let me in.
I mean, he literally could have just go to the elevator where we were, and I don't think the Adaman child will be able to reach him. But
Yeah.
Well, we come out of the elevator and see what's happening. I guess he recognizes us as...
He can't fit in an elevator. He's too big.
his hat too big. He recognizes that we're a threat or whatever, but I think this Hope or not Hope, Snow
no one says anything.
No one
really.
says anything yet. We kind of just
Not
stand
yet.
between the Adaman child and him.
Snow looks over his shoulder and sees him. That's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And we protect him from the
protect
Adaman.
this
Show
guy.
them what real heroes are made of.
We gotta win this.
And I almost died here. I died.
This is tough.
was a
It's
hard
definitely
fight.
tough.
I had a little.
I think
magic-
I did die a couple of times here until I had to respec a little bit to make sure that I didn't just immediately get stepped on to death.
I
I think this is the only mandatory Adamantoise battle, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I threw a last minute Hail Mary of a high wind fucking Fang's ultimate move, and it just killed the shit out of him. It just killed him in one, and I was like, "Let's go, Fang!"
Yeah, I think with high wind, so I don't know if we talked about the way that works, but it will completely clear the stagger bar, but it'll deal devastating hit.
Yeah.
So if you have a lot of stagger built up on this thing, and then you hit it with a high wind, it'll get rid of that stagger. You don't wait for the bar to go down anymore, but it'll deal probably at certain percent thresholds, it'll deal more damage to the enemy than you would get just by continuing the stagger.
Yeah. It's a really good last ditch kind of attack.
At this point, I still didn't realize that despite leveling up lightning somewhere, that I didn't have Army of One, and I completely forgot about that as a concept, so I wasn't even trying it.
This thing is kind of tough because it's every time it steps, it just hits you with
It's
like
the whole
1,000
party.
damage.
I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, everyone. Yeah, if Synergist could learn float and teach everyone float, that would be great because it's just.
I think
shook.
I put on some clay rings. I don't know if this is actually earth elemental damage or anything, but I put a clay ring on Vanille and was able to get by enough to take it down.
Yeah.
These things are soft shell turtle designs too. I just remembered. They got the weird little snoot and the funky little cheeks.
Oh yeah, I died to this thing a fuck ton of times, dude.
Really?
I'm watching back.
I would have if not for that last move. I was cause I was fighting it and I was I don't even know how to do this. I'm not even sure how to take this guy on. And then I just threw that out there and I won with it.
This is a fight that seems like it's very necessary to have a synergist. To just at least put up all of your resistances so that you're not just getting fucking owned.
Yeah.
Probably even check your accessories to see if you have any accessories you can. I always forget to upgrade my accessories, my rings and bracelets or whatever, to kind of
until I get
more
final
defense.
level weapon shit. I am afraid to upgrade any accessories, and I just feel accessories seem so situational to me that I don't want to dump a bunch of shit into an accessory that I might not always want to use.
Right.
But there are certain accessories like the black belt or whatever that I have on Fang is extremely good, and the tetratic items also seem very good.
And a picture of a soft-shelled tortoise or whatever that Alex just put in the Discord.
Oh yeah, look at that snoot. But yeah, so we save this guy's life, and he knows
he joins
who
our party.
we are. Yeah, he joins the party. This is Billy. But he sees us and says, "Let's see," and he points his gun and stuff, and then Snow stops everyone, puts his hand up.
Everybody's getting ready to fight him. They're gonna go at him.
Don't you fucking dare, kiddo.
Yeah, and that guy kind of hopefully he's oh, these guys aren't my enemy. But he just runs. I think he's just I just watch these things kill this thing. I don't want to fuck with them.
Why would we, the side of Pulse, destroy this big bioweapon that is supposedly invading?
Yeah, exactly. So then we get cut over to another scene where we see some civilians kind of just milling around. And if you look closely,
are just milling.
If you look closely at the one guy who's kind of towards the front, all the way to the right of the screen, he is walking exactly like the meme of the Virgin with his arms down. I need to
Chad
take this.
Lightning.
No, I was gonna say the Chad Snow, just being all doing his weird flexing pose, and just the Virgin Eden pedestrian.
Weirdos.
I don't blame this guy for walking like that. He thinks the apocalypse is happening.
But yeah, there's a bunch of people like you said, just milling around, being like, "Well, shit's fucked."
Yeah, we're basically just on an expressway now.
Yeah,
it is nice that the civilians aren't actively trying to take up arms against us. I guess they might just be kind of resigned to, the army has invaded and there's nothing we can do.
Well,
it's like Palom Polum, where all the civilians just assume that we're also civilians, and all the soldiers just assume we're like
soldiers on their side or whatever.
Well, maybe we'll talk about it next time, because I think this is where we're probably going to end it for today.
Yeah, there's a nice little save spot over here that we can hit up.
Indeed. I was going to say maybe the
grab that Punisher if you want, the item chest.
Oh yeah, that's a fang weapon, right?
Yeah.
I was going to say maybe they're just milling around and not going any further, because the next enemy that we're going to have to fight is the Humbaba, which next time we can hear about how tilted that makes me.
Oh my god, dude! Yeah, that's the thing that I was talking about earlier, where there's two of them in one thing, and it's like fuck that, dude.
Shit sucks.
Did you beat both of them? Just a little.
No, I ran by them.
Okay, because in the little devil and the little angel on my shoulder, both of them are Curtis. And when I was trying to fight these two things, I heard the little devil one saying, just Curtis's voice reverberating in my head saying, "No, I fight every enemy in this game, like no matter what. I must
up until this point, I have."
I was like, I'm not fucking doing that. I got pretty close to beating the one, and then I got hit with some bullshit, and I was like, fuck this, I'm never trying it again.
I beat the one, but I cheated. And I didn't cheat. It's not cheating. There's no cheating in the game. But like, I used every fucking Fortisol, Aegisol, Deceptisol. I was solved up. And I was just like, all right, let's go.
That does not seem worth all those sols.
And then I was like, okay, well, that's probably just one of them, right? I just use all the sols, and that's probably just that one. And then there's like 10 of them coming up. Anyway, we'll talk about it. It's stupid.
Yeah, there's
a lot of shit happening.
There's a lot of shit happening.
I do one last thing, because it's in the same vein. Starting in this area, you start seeing like shit just happening out of bounds.
Yes.
Like next to the item chest, the Punisher, you actually see like a Psycom and a like Pulse behemoth like fighting. Shit. Like it's fucking cool.
That is fucking tight.
I think the Pulse one wins. So yeah.
I completely
because it doesn't regain all of its HP when it goes standing like a guy mode, just like we were saying.
Yeah, they there keeps being like explosions that you can hear as well, where I think like you're supposed to actually see what is happening with the explosions, and like then you see little bits of fire like where it was happening and stuff. But every time my camera was pointed in the opposite direction, so it's like, and I was like, that probably would have been cool to see.
I see some of them, and then I like see the screen shake and like fire, and I'm like, oh, what was it? I missed it.
What happened? What I missed? Yeah.
Anyway, that's the end of that chapter. We'll get to that next week. In the meantime,
this has been Every F and FF.
So says you.
You guys got anything going on?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to be running Dark Souls at MagFest. I still don't know if they released the official schedule, but last I checked, I will be running Dark Souls on the Saturday night, so like the last night of MagFest, at like I think 10:45 p.m. So if you're at MagFest and you wanted to see that, check it out. If you're not going to be at MagFest, they will be streaming at twitch.tv/MagFest, as in how I'm going to be running, which is very fast. Speeds never before seen when I'm, at day 3 of a con and it's late at night and I probably have indigestion and I probably drank some alcohol. But it'll be good. It'll be fun. It's going to be a good time.
I need to send an email, see if I can get in there, because I did not get my comp ticket email.
Those fuckers.
I also have speedrunning news. I will be running VVV on twitch.tv/PacePalsOfficial.
Nice.
For our the 12 days of Pacemas. So on December 23rd at 8:30 EST, you can come watch me and try to PB in that game. We'll see how it goes.
Hell yeah. What's the name of the fucking one? Hell jump?
Oh, the Veni Vidi Vici jump.
Yeah, I was going to say Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo or something.
Bibbidi Bobbidi Boo. Hey, I've been getting that in the first try recently. So
that's amazing. I was able to get that trinket in my casual playthrough of it, but that is a very difficult jump.
That's a difficult ass jump. So like this post to make Carl learn the speedrun and race me.
Oh, I would love to learn the speedrun. Maybe after MagFest.
Yeah.
Not enough hours in the day for a Final Fantasy podcast about Final Fantasy 13. Speedrun marathon run of Dark Souls, no wrong warp any percent in person for the first time, and all the Christmas shit coming up as well.
But, no lie.
It'll be fine.
Well, Alex, would you like to start your engines?
I'd be honored. Thank you to Masashi Amauzu for the game music. You can review us or rate us on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you're listening to us now. You can call us or text us at 530-MATERIA. And you can find us at every FNFF on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and hop in our Discord. And we can trust the pods no more than the fal'Cie who cast them.
Bye.
See ya.